This is Dan Lamb Pro with another 100 videos in 100 days. Look, episode 5. The name of this video is Learning to Ride. I want to share with you a simple story about my childhood. I remember I was somewhat of a daredevil when I was running around the neighborhood, the housing projects. I was curious about a lot of things. Now, inside the house, I grew up with a household full of females. I was the youngest of 5, including my mother, who was also number 5 as far as the females. So it was 5 females in the house and me. So you can imagine how much I got my way. You can imagine how protective they was of me whenever I wanted to try something dangerous. So they was always worried when I went out to school or when I went out to play. Sometimes they didn't know that I was doing some of the things that they probably never even imagined. But anyway, as I got older and I finally got me a bicycle, I was already somewhat of a daredevil. So I would try dangerous things, defy gravity and balance and everything else. I would try things that other people wouldn't try. We played games like follow the leader and stuff like that. I was always in high risk mode, taking the chance with danger. Things that if you missed that one precise inch could be a life-threatening injury, or you could really mess yourself up pretty bad. But anyway, I eventually got a bike and I learned how to do so many different tricks on bikes that others couldn't do. I didn't want to be an ordinary rider or an average rider, so I was a daredevil rider, and I did some things that just was fascinating to the human eye. But anyway, one day when I really reached my limit, I had this inclination to learn how to ride a bike backwards. I wanted to challenge balance, and I wanted to challenge direction, and I wanted to challenge hearing that you can't ride that bike backwards. And my thing always been in life, don't tell me what I can't do or what's not possible when I know or believe that it's something possible. And that's the moral of the story. You know, I see now kids got on a helmet, they got on elbow pads, knee pads, and all these things are required just to ride a bike down the street without any tricks, without any daring moves, etc., etc. That's not a put down, because society has learned that we must be more safe and more healthy. But anyway, to make a long story short, was I didn't want to be average. I didn't want to be ordinary. I wanted to defy balance. I wanted to defy direction. And my family allowed it. Even though they cared about me and they was protective about me, they allowed it. They allowed me to learn to ride. Now, how I equate this to life and other things that I experienced that I'm sure they felt was dangerous when I went off to the military, a lot of days when I walked out the door to go to school or to go out to play, considering the environment, I'm sure they worried about my welfare. However, they also knew that I had to learn to live life. I had to learn to survive. I had to learn to function and function within environments that may not have always been the safest or the best or the most healthy, but they taught me to function. They taught me to survive in a healthy environment, even in a toxic one. So I had to learn to ride. So I think about all the times I failed trying to learn to ride that bike backwards. I could have broke my back. I could have busted my skull. A lot of things could have happened, but they didn't. Which brings me around to my spiritual journey and my understanding that that protection my family was worried about, God had it in his hands because he protected me through the whole thing. But guess what? To tenacity and the resilience and the patience that it took to learn how to ride that bike backwards, I eventually perfected that craft. In fact, I perfected it through practice and repetition so good that eventually I could ride around the whole neighborhood backwards, to the fascination of myself and others and my family. So the point I'm making is that in life, sometimes we have to challenge average. We have to challenge ordinary. We have to challenge the toxic voices that say you can't do that or that can't be done. Because really, that's how the world functions. That's how the world revolves. Let's think about the Wright brothers. Imagine their family thinking, oh, they think they could fly. They're going to take off and crash and burn. Yet, when they took off and finally flew, I'm sure their family was fascinated as well as relieved. And from that point, the Wright brothers continued to discover and create. And now we all sit in the airplane and fly all over the world at ease without question or doubt as to the dangers or the risk involved. That's because the Wright brothers had the tenacity, the resilience and the patience to challenge average, to challenge ordinary. Now, I'm not here to preach to you and make it sound like my life is a life of success and I've never experienced any adversity or been defeated by adversity. My point is that regardless of adversity, regardless of the risk, regardless of whatever it is that you want to do in life, there are challenges, there are risks, there are dangers, and we can't run from it. We can't take fear and fear our curiosities. We can't take fear and fear our dreams and our goals. We must push forward, and we must practice. We must fall. We must get the scratches and the bruises until we accomplish and achieve the task. And it's at that point that even now at 66 years old, sometimes I take my bicycle out of the Forest Preserve and I find me an empty parking lot early in the morning. And I get on that bike and I ride around that parking lot backwards. Just to remind me of the love and concern my family had, the tenacity and resilience I had to learn, and the covering that God put on me through the whole experience and all those that followed when I learned to ride. Hey, my name is Dan Land Pro. Don't forget youtube.com, Dan Land Pro, or Webmaster Dan. Hit that subscribe button and hit that like button. Till next time, peace.